Am I the asshole for not asking my dad for something of mine when he purposefully hid it to bond with me? My dad hid my laptop one night from my nightstand while it was charging while I was sleeping. I knew I left it there charging the night before, so when I woke up I was very surprised, upset it was gone. I knew it had to be somewhere in my house, but if I couldn't find it I'd be missing school, since my school is 100% online. I asked my little brother if he knew where it was and if he mixed his laptop up with mine, since they're issued school laptops, we have the same exact models, and he did indeed have his laptop and not mine. We spent about an hour looking for the laptop but gave up. I called my mom and asked her if she knew where my laptop was while she was at work, since for some reason my laptop ended up in her bag one day before. She looked in her bag and said that no, it wasn't there. I didn't ever think to ask my dad because there'd be no reason for him to have it. We'd never had a mix-up with it before involving him, and he never goes into my room and messes with my stuff, takes things that are mine. So, I didn't ask my dad, and I missed all my classes that day. When my mom got home, I told her I missed all my classes because I couldn't find my laptop. The first thing she asked is if I asked my dad to help me look for it, which made me think that she was in on it too, and of course, I said no. She then called my dad out from his office and asked me to explain why I missed all my classes to him. I did, and he said he hid it in his office. His plan was for me to ask him where it was, he'd pretend like he didn't know, and after looking for it for a while, he'd, coincidentally, find it in his office and pretend like I must have put it there somehow. He twisted this and made it seem like I was the asshole for never asking him, and I'm a terrible child because I never talked to him, ask him for things. That I was stupid for asking everyone else in the house but him, and he made it seem like that was a purposeful, targeting thing. His defense was that I ask him all the time if he's seen my phone or headphones somewhere, and I should have asked if he'd seen my laptop anywhere. But that's not the same thing. In those cases, I'd leave my phone, headphones in random places and forget where I put them unconsciously, but in this case I was 100% confident that someone took it from my nightstand and put it somewhere else. And in my mind I was 100% confident it would not be him. Am I wrong for not asking him? Some edits. People told me to include this here in the original post. My dad wasn't home between 8 to 12:30. My school starts at 9 a.m. and ends at 1 p.m. So by the time he got home, my school day was already over. Another thing to add, thank you for the overwhelming support. I thought only like 4 people would see this and maybe one person would comment lol. It's crazy to believe this many of you care about my situation. If there are any updates, I'll be sure to make a about it. Not the asshole. If your father wants to bond with you, he should just spend some time with you, not manufacture bizarre scenarios where he ends up the hero and you're eternally grateful to him. Also, he's gaslighting you, twisting the whole thing to be your fault. You're not at fault in any way, and your father needs a therapist. Not the asshole. Sorry, Op, but this was a very immature stunt your dad pulled. Wanting to bond with your child and have a deeper connection is a good thing, but making you miss your classes kinda defeats the purpose. Did your gut feeling turn out to be right? Was your mom in on it? Not the asshole. Your father sounds nuts. If he wants to bond, he could just take you out to lunch or something. Less than I'm a terrible child because I never talked to him. Ask him for things. Less than his defense was that I ask him all the time if he's seen my phone or headphones somewhere. So you actually do ask. Not the asshole. You need to make him explain to your teachers why you had to miss class. He took it knowing you had school online. This was a major asshole move on his part. Not the asshole. What he did is honestly abusive and he's gaslighting you. I hope you can get help from a school counselor or something. If he's wanting to be closer to you, he's gonna achieve the opposite effect, although he probably cares more about his power trip, to be honest. Not the asshole. Also, he could just walk up to you and chat. Not the asshole. This is weird. I'm going to steal from you in a way you would never expect to bond, but I'm not going to realize when you haven't asked by the time school has started that my plan failed. NTA, your dad made you miss a day of school and tried to blame you for his own actions. He was acting childish. NTA, your dad is a huge asshole for thinking this was such a great idea to get you to bond with him. He caused you to miss all your classes because he couldn't come up with an actual bonding activity. Looking for lost things isn't bonding. You ask the person and they go look in one room. And you in the other room. Once it's found, you both go on your merry way. So how is that bonding? You're not spending quality time together. I hope you email your teachers and let them what happened. Think you might want to lock your room at night or when you're not at home. So your dad doesn't try to bond with you again. Not the asshole. Your dad is a prick. NTA, do you want to bond with your kid? Do activities. Don't hide a school laptop that was in their room after you snuck in. Hide. And decided you'd want to play hero by magically finding it. That isn't bonding. That will just cause issues for your child, making them doubt themselves and if they can really trust what they remember. Not the asshole. Something is deeply wrong with your father. He deliberately made you miss school. What does your mom think? Does she think this is all your fault, or does she realize how sick and abusive his behavior is? Not the asshole. For goodness sakes, just take you kids to the park or something if you want to bond. What he did is just weird. Not the asshole, and your dad sounds immature and really weird. Not the asshole. Your dad had a half-baked plan. Not the asshole, your dad's behavior was weird and unhealthy. And why didn't he do something when you never came to him to get it? But like, what was your plan? Just never go to class again cause you couldn't find it that morning? Why wouldn't you inform your other parent, that was home, that you were unable to do your classes at all, instead of waiting until mom came home? Not the asshole, and these mind games from your parents are a little disturbing. Their behavior and thought process vastly overshadows that. Asking everyone in the house when looking for a missing object increases your chances of finding things. This was painful to read. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Guess you could tell your dad. You did not ask him as you know it was removed and assumed he of all people would not steal from you. Now you know not to trust him. See how that bonding works. Guess you could have titled this, My Dad is a Thief. Not the asshole. This is really petty and immature behavior of your dad and your mom as well if she's in on it. You missed a whole day of education because he wanted to play some kind of prank on you. A prank is only funny if everyone is laughing. Don't see anyone laughing here. As for teaching you a lesson, I'm sure you've learned you can't trust your father. Not the asshole. This is the definition of gaslighting. He did something wrong and is blaming you for it. There is no way in any sense that you are the a-hole here. Tell your parents to stop gaslighting you and treat you like an adult. This is quite literally affecting your education and future. Not the asshole. This man snuck into your room in the middle of the night to steal your laptop. Deliberately sabotaged your education because he wanted you to need him for something. Additionally, he intended to convince you that you did something with it that you know you didn't do. So he's a liar and manipulator. There is nothing okay about any of this. He is so incredibly creepy, I don't know where to begin. He's the one who broke your trust and somehow he thinks that's your fault. He's insane. Do not forget this incident. There will likely be others to come, and please try to protect yourself and your property as best you can. This man can't be trusted. Do your parents move or hide your things on a regular basis? Because you seem to lose things frequently, and with this it sounds like your dad maybe copied something your mom does? I might be reaching, but this is so weird. 'Cause your comment says your dad wasn't even home when you were looking for your laptop, which you should add to your post. And your mom told you to lie to your school. Mention this to your therapist. AITA. As I read more of your comments, this just gets worse. Maybe your dad saw your mom helping you find stuff and thought he would do it too, but has some disconnect. Your mom seems to have selective memory of reality issues. Not the asshole. Your dad is lucky you didn't call the police about a break-in. Not the asshole. Time to hide everything they own. NTA. I hope your father sent a letter to the school explaining why you couldn't attend. If not, the school will be on your case. I hope you and your brother attend the same school so that way he can back you up. Your father's logic is twisted. Not the asshole. Your parents have really crappy ways of trying to get you and your dad to interact. Games and lies and gaslighting are not healthy nor okay. Not the asshole. If your dad wasn't home from 8 to 12:30, starting an hour before school starts, how was he supposed to help you look for your laptop? Not the asshole. That's weird. What a weird and mean thing to do. How is that bonding? Why does your dad need to feel needed? And how is being tagged in for finding random stuff the bar? Bizarre. Not the asshole. This could be considered a form of abuse. That's kinda stupid to force bonding time like that. There are more natural ways to try. NTA. I feel like the correct response should have been like, I'm sorry I didn't ask you, Dad. It never would have occurred for me you'd steal my stuff. But now I know and will always ask you first in the future. Wait, so your dad stole something of yours and even though he knew you were looking for it he didn't mention it because he wanted you to ask him as a bonding thing? You're not the asshole and your dad is a psychopath. Not the asshole. I'm sorry, but your father is a moron. Woman facepalming. Not the asshole. When I was a teenager and my father wanted to bond with me, he'd ask me to spend a day with him and I got to pick the activity. Shopping, the movies, my choice. Whatever. If your dad wants to bond with you he can ask to spend time with you. Not hide things you need for school. Not the asshole. Your dad has a really odd idea of what a bonding experience is supposed to be. Removing your laptop from your nightstand and hiding it in his office is not a bonding experience. You didn't ask him if he took your laptop or search his office because you were sure he wouldn't take it. It's a weird thing for him to do, especially since it made you miss a day of classes. He should have phoned you when school started and asked how classes were going to make sure you had your laptop, but playing a silly and immature trick was more important to his ego. Not the asshole, your parents suck. Not the asshole, you lost an entire day of shook to do this and he didn't even take accountability? Your dad's the asshole in this situation. Oh wow. Not the asshole, curious to know if that is your dad's mo? How did he and your mom meet? Did he swoop in and save the day for her too? There are much better, less dramatic ways to bond with your child. Dad should have done one of those instead. Not the asshole, he sounds insufferable and untrustworthy. NTA. And do not ever trust him with anything if you can help it. Not the asshole, that was a really fucked up thing to do, and your mother is also wrong for playing along, if that is what she did, or at least didn't stop him. He's going to be all, I don't understand why Op never calls or visits, when you fly the nest. Not the asshole. That sounds concerning, to say the least, and I imagine we are only saying the tip of the iceberg. Your father chose the wrong way if the intended purpose was to bond with you. Moreover, I think his intended outcome was that you didn't talk to your dad, since there was no reason to do so or to think that he had the laptop, so they could guilt trip you afterwards into bonding with him. Either that, or they way to understand, bonding is very twisted. Did they do anything similar prior to this? I'm sorry, is your dad 5 years old? That is one of the most childish schemes I've ever heard of. You are not the asshole. Your father needs to grow up. What the actual F did I just read? He stole it from your nightstand, where you remember leaving it, and then lets you miss school all day to punish you for not suspecting him of being a weirdo thief? Absolutely not the asshole, and your dad has severe issues. Wow. I'm sorry. I hope you can start saving money and move out as soon as possible. I doubt that's his only asshole behavior. Not the asshole. Your dad is super childish. This is the type of stunt I'd expect a kid or teenager to pull, and the lack of emotional maturity is laughable. If he wants to spend more time with you, it's up to him, as the parent, to express that and make it happen. Manipulating you into spending time with him is just so petty and immature. Consider sitting down with him and letting him know you're up to spending more time with him. Let him know, however, that you expect him to be straightforward and mature about his intentions. Messing with your things and manipulating you are tactics that are going to push you away, not draw you in closer. This is called gaslighting. Your father made a problem, and by the end of it, it was your fault. Not the asshole. Make sure in a few years when you're older you bring this up all the time at Thanksgiving dinner. Not the asshole. That's absolutely bizarre. Not the asshole. What the fuck kind of mind games are your parents playing? This is frankly ludicrous. I work with therapists. Open-ended questions are what they do. Not the asshole, and dad's a narcissist.